Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. So Marcel Brands is the leading candidate to become Manchester United's first ever director of football. Now Marcel Brands is the director of football at Everton and he has been there for a few years. He's helped Everton bring players like James Rodriguez in, Decore and Allen. His contract with Everton does expire at the end of the season. Now, Marcel Brands has been the director of football at AZ Alkmaar before. He was also the director of football at PSV before. And he was also the director of football at another club, but I can't pronounce their name. So, would you take him at Manchester United? Now, there's been quite a few names linked with that director's role. Obviously, it said last month that Luis Campos was linked with that director's role. Luis Campos is the Lille director. Paul Mitchell, he's been linked with it before. Fabio Paratici, he's been linked with the director's role before. He's currently the director at Juventus. Mark Overmars and Edwin van der Sar have also been linked with that role. And, quite a few former Manchester United players have been linked with it. Now, I think Manchester United do need a director of football because it's one of the structural changes that we need at the football club. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does need more backing. But if we are to get a director of football in, we need someone who knows the club inside out and someone who's got that experience. So that's an update in regards to the director of football. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be sacked as Manchester United manager if he doesn't solve the Paul Pogba issue. Now, Paul Pogba didn't play against West Brom yesterday night. Solskjaer said that Paul Pogba sustained an ankle injury. Solskjaer's hopeful that he will be available for the game against Istanbul Başakşehir. Now, prior to the game against West Brom, Solskjaer was talking about Paul Pogba and he backs Paul Pogba to improve after he's had one-to-one talks. Solskjaer said that Paul Pogba is an important player and is an important person, but Ole revealed that Paul Pogba is unhappy at the football club because obviously he has lost his place in the team. Now, Pogba made a few comments recently saying, playing for France is a breath of fresh air. He said this season's been the most difficult period in his career. And obviously he was talking about his struggles this season. Now, reflecting on Paul Pogba's recent comments, he has received a lot of criticism. Didier Deschamps, who is the France manager, he's been talking a lot about Paul Pogba recently. He came out recently and said that he understands Paul Pogba better than Solskjaer. And he praised him for his huge talent. And he said obviously he cannot be happy with his situation at Manchester United for being left on the bench and for playing out of position. Paul Pogba was obviously unhappy when we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract. Because earlier on in the season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract. So he is under contract with the football club until June 2022. This was also confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. Now, this is Paul Pogba's 5th season at Manchester United since he rejoined. He's made over 100 appearances for the football club in all competitions. He's won 3 trophies at the club, and that was the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield. Paul Pogba, don't forget, endured a difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era, but so too did all our top players. Some people think Paul Pogba was one of the reasons why Mourinho ended up getting the sack. We had Pogba when he was a lot younger under the Alex Ferguson era, but we had to let him go due to limited appearances. As it stands at the moment, he is our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him. Now, I'm expecting Pogba to leave the football club next year. I think we'll look to get rid of him next summer. But it said Paul Pogba is intending on leaving the football club on a 3 transfer, but obviously we won't want to let him go on a 3. Now, he has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. Don't forget, earlier on this season, he did make an admission saying that one day his dream is to join Real Madrid. And last year, Pogba said he wanted to leave Man United because he was seeking for a new challenge. There's been a lot of rumours of him going back to Juventus. Paul Pogba did endure 4 good years with Juventus. PSG and Barcelona and that have been in for him before, and so too have Inter Milan. During the summer transfer window though, Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola came out and said that Pogba wants to stay at the football club and he will hold talks over a new long-term contract. There has been no talks whatsoever over getting him a long-term contract at the football club. So that's the breaking news on him. Now, I want to delve into some more news on Dean Henderson. So, Dean Henderson wants to go out on loan in January, so it boosts his chances of claiming the number 1 jersey for England. Now, the Sun have reported out recently that Leeds United are interested in signing Dean Henderson in January. It also does mention that Brighton are interested in him. Bournemouth have been interested in him. It recently said that Celtic were interested in him. Now, Dean Henderson has not played in the Premier League this season for Manchester United. He is our second choice goalkeeper. Don't forget, during the summer, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract with the football club worth around 120 grand a week. I think at some point Dean Henderson will become our number 1. Dean Henderson has got that experience behind him because he did endure 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. He's been on loan not only at Sheffield United, he's been on loan at Shrewsbury before and Grimsby. And Dean Henderson has been part of the club for several years. He has been at Manchester United since like the age of 14. So yeah, we could loan him out in January. Now, I give him a match reaction, didn't I, this morning from our 1-0 win against West Brom. Like I said to you, it wasn't a good performance by Manchester United and I was expecting a lot more. But all that matters is we got the win. It's our 4th win in the Premier League this season. And it's good that we've got our first win at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season. And it's our 2nd win in a row. We are now sitting 9th in the Premier League. Obviously, the goal came from a retaken penalty by Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, it was Juan Mata that had won the penalty. West Brom had a penalty overturned by VAR because Bruno Fernandes had brought down Connor Townsend. So West Brom, from their perspective, will feel as though that they were robbed. Like I mentioned though, West Brom did have some good chances in the game. They had that Karlan Grant chance. They had the Connor Townsend chance. And Callum Robinson also hit the crossbar. But West Brom are a very, very poor outfit. They haven't won a game yet in the Premier League this season. And I think they are going to get relegated. But I knew it wasn't going to be an easy game because, West Brom have had a pretty good record at Old Trafford. Solskjaer says we haven't been good at home because obviously with no fans being there. But to me, it doesn't really make a difference. Solskjaer gave his perception on the game and he said our performance was way below par. But he actually praised the officials for their decisions they made in the game. He actually agrees with it, does Ole. I still think Solskjaer is under pressure at Manchester United. He's not under a lot of pressure. The pressure would have eased off him, obviously reflecting on the last 2 wins that we've had. But we've got games now coming up thick and fast. We've obviously got Istanbul Besiktas coming up on Tuesday. Should be winning that. Our next league game is Southampton. That's going to be a very, very difficult game because they've enjoyed a good start to the season. Then it's PSG. West Ham's coming up on the 5th of December, is it? Leipzig's coming up soon. And Man City's coming up soon. And if we perform like we did against West Brom yesterday, I can't see us winning any or many of them games. But yeah, we are in 9th and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards, is it? There's a lot of Manchester United fans that obviously don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man. I'm obviously one of them. I hate to say that because I do love Ole a lot. He is a club legend. He was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. But my perceptions on him as a manager are totally comparison to how he was as a player. Because as a manager, he hasn't got that proven pedigree, has he? Manchester United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. Before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde. But Molde are a big club. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff and he enjoyed a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated, didn't he? But reflecting now on he's been at Man United, you can say he's learned quite a bit and he's gained managerial experience. He's been Manchester United manager now for almost 2 years. And he has got a contract with a football club until 2022. I'm very, very sceptical he'll see out his contract. I don't see Solskjaer remaining Manchester United manager till the end of this season unless a miracle happens. Ole has managed over 100 games for Manchester United in all competitions and this is his 2nd full season at the football club. And I said if we could finish in the top 4 this season and if we could win a trophy, that would represent a very, very good season for Manchester United and then that would give us something to build on. But not all of the blame stems from Ole. He's not the only problem at the football club. We've had problems with the board for several years. Reflecting now poor our recruitment policy's been. We've overpaid for players. None of our managers have been backed since Ferguson left. Moyes wasn't backed, Van Gaal wasn't backed, Mourinho wasn't backed, and Solskjaer hasn't been backed. And there's still players at Manchester United that are not good enough to represent Manchester United, and obviously there's still deadwood in the squad that we do need to get rid of next year. But yeah, don't get me wrong, Ole is one of the problems at the football club. Because obviously in a lot of his games at Manchester United, he's been very, very tactically naive. But there again, in a lot of the big games, he showed a lot of tactical flexibility. Ole has not yet, started Donny van der Beek in the Premier League. I don't understand how he's not yet made his full Premier League debut. I think Ole as well needs to be dropping Anthony Martial because he's underperformed this season. Like I've already said, he's got to solve the issue with Pogba. He's got to select the right formation. Ole's gone a lot with a 4-2-3-1 formation since he got appointed in as Man United manager, but that 4-2-3-1 formation, in my opinion, doesn't really seem to suit our standards. In the big games, he's gone with like the 3-5-2. A few times he's gone with that 4-3-3 formation. Ole's also got to identify his best 11. I think Ole's probably got to sell one of our holding midfielders. Probably Matic, I'd say. He's the one that needs to be sold. Matic has actually lost his place in the team. Despite the fact that he started yesterday. I didn't think he'd have started yesterday. I thought McTominay would have started alongside Fred because they've played together a lot this season. And as you all know, we've been having issues with Mason Greenwood this season. Mason Greenwood didn't play yesterday against West Brom because he was out with illness. Solskjaer confirmed he missed training for like 9 days. Greenwood was also withdrawn from England's under-21 squad because of injuries and personal issues. He was also withdrawn from the England squad earlier on in the season with Phil Foden for breaking COVID-19 rules. Prior to the game against West Brom, though, Solskjaer defended Mason Greenwood, saying that he will benefit from taking a step back. And he says that Greenwood's enjoyed a fantastic year, didn't he? But there's obviously been a lot of rumours of Mauricio Pochettino becoming Manchester United's next manager. He's actually been the favourite to take over. A few Man United fans, I think, want him. Massimiliano Allegri, he's been another manager on our agenda. Julian Nagelsmann, he's been another manager on our agenda too. Or Sport recently said that Roberto Mancini was on our agenda. But we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers, and it wouldn't really solve a lot if we did sack Ole. We've already sacked 3 managers since Ferguson left, and that was obviously David Moyes. He got sacked after, 8.5, 9 months. He endured the shortest tenure at the club. We finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. Louis van Gaal got sacked after 2 years despite winning the FA Cup. Jose Mourinho, he got sacked after 2.5 years despite winning the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield in his first season. Now, I've taken positives from Ole's tenure. Like I said, he's made some good signings since he got appointed in as Manchester United manager. He has spent over £200 million at the club. We've also seen a lot of players depart the club since he got recommended in. I like the way he has promoted the youth. He did well in his first full season, which was obviously last season. So there you go. But like I've said to you, Solskjaer's inheriting a lot of players here from the Jose Mourinho era. There's still a few players here from the Van Gaal era. Still 1 player here from the Moyes era. There's only 2 players here now from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. We've spent over £1 billion in the last 8 years on players, and we've recruited over 30 odd players since the Ferguson era. But people will say, reflecting on the money we've spent on players, we should be in much more of a commanding position than we are in. We've not won the Premier League since 2013, so we haven't won it now for like 8 years. And I definitely don't see us winning the Premier League title under Ole. But no manager at Manchester United, or no manager in general, will replicate Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy or last as long as Ferguson did. Ferguson endured 27 years at the club and he won a total of 38 major honours. But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United. But yeah, we are the most successful team in Premier League history because we have won 20 titles and 13 of them are Premier League titles. But yeah, like I said, we haven't dominated English football since Ferguson left. Since Ferguson left, we've been inconsistent. Before Ferguson came into the equation, we was inconsistent. Now, we've got some good players. I think Marcus Rashford, he's very, very good now. He weren't so good against West Brom. Main explanation is because he didn't look fully fit, Rashford. So in a way, it was a risk starting him. Rashford did have a good chance though in the game. Marcus Rashford just recently had a shoulder problem. So reflects on that, he recently missed England's game. But he's had a lot of good games this season, Rashford. Rashford turned 23 the other week. Marcus Rashford has been part of the club for several years. He's been at United since the age of 7 and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. Rashford does look more effective out wide, I think, though, than playing centrally. Now, I think Bruno Fernandes, he's a very, very good player. And again, man the match yesterday. He was the one that obviously scored that retaken penalty. Bruno Fernandes is Manchester United's best player. He's endured a good 10 months or so now at the football club. Bruno Fernandes has scored 19 goals, is it, for Manchester United? Something like that in like 34 appearances. He has got a contract with the football club until 2025. We paid €55 million for him from Sporting Lisbon back in January. Last season, he won Premier League Player of the Month twice, and he also won some Matt Busby Player of the Year award, reflecting on his good performances. Reports from Spain recently said that Real Madrid and Barcelona are interested in signing him at the end of the season. And to be honest with you, if things don't improve at Man United, that could persuade Bruno Fernandes to leave the football club. Now, Donny van de Beek, I also think he's a very, very good player. Like I said, Donny van de Beek has not yet made his full Premier League debut for the club. But he has started our last 2 games in the Champions League. Now, Donny van de Beek can play in like 3 different positions. He can play as a box-to-box midfielder, he can play as a number 10, and you can also put him out wide. Should have actually started him out wide yesterday against West Brom, but we didn't. We paid £40 million for Donny van de Beek from Ajax. Now, I think Juan Mata's still a good player, but my element of concern about him is now lost that yard of pace, and he is in his 30s now. He's had some good games though this season. He weren't so good though yesterday against West Brom, pretty quiet in the game. Matt has endured a good 6 years or so at Manchester United. We paid, was it around £40 million for him from Chelsea back in 2014. Matt has scored 50 goals for the football club in all competitions, and he's made over 200 appearances in all competitions. Now, I think Fred is a good player. He's not world class by all means, but still a good player. He's enjoyed quite a few good games this season. But he's improved under Ole. We paid £47 million for Fred a few years ago from Shakhtar Donetsk. Fred's got a contract with Man United until 2023. Now, I think also Edison Cavani's good. Obviously, he's in his 30s now. He's only going to be at Man United for short term, isn't he? But I thought he did well when he came on against West Brom yesterday, made an impact, scored his first goal for the football club in our 3-1 win against Everton, and he almost scored with his first touch when he came on against Chelsea. I thought Edison Cavani would have started yesterday, but he didn't, so he's not yet made his full Premier League debut for the club. We got him on a free transfer on deadline day. Cavani signed a 2-year contract with the club worth 220 grand a week, and he currently wears that number 7 shirt. Now, Luke Shaw, I think he's good for Man United. My only element of concern about Luke Shaw, he is injury prone. He's obviously out now with a hamstring injury, and he's out for up to a month. He got 2 assists, Luke Shaw, in the last 2 games that he played in, didn't he? Don't forget. Shaw's enjoyed a good 6 years or so now at the football club. We paid like £30 million for him from Southampton back in 2014. Now, I think Tellez has done very, very good so far. He's only played 2 games. You know, the game against West Brom yesterday was his Premier League debut for the club. And he showed some very, very good attacking intent, made some good overlapping runs, but defensively didn't really have much to do. Tellez also did well on his Champions League debut against PSG, didn't he? But yeah, he's going to be a good signing for Man United. We paid, was it 15.4 million for him from Porto, and Tellez signed a 4-year contract with the club with an option of a further year. Harry Maguire, I think he's pretty good now. He has rejuvenated himself. I thought he was good yesterday against West Brom, made some very, very good challenges. And in recent games as well, he's been very, very effective in the air. He's bounced back from his early season troubles, Harry Maguire, because don't forget he had that incident in Greece for the start of the season. He sustained a few knocks. He recently had a bruised foot as well. And he got sent off in one of England's games. Harry Maguire is the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment because we got him in a deal worth £80 million from Leicester. Now, Wan-Bissaka, I think he's also very, very good. He weren't great yesterday against West Brom. Like I said, he got exposed on one-on-one situations. But in the games he's played well in this season, showed good attacking intent, and his defensive contribution has been very, very good. We got Wan-Bissaka in the summer of 2019 for around £50 million. And I think David De Gea's good again. He's made some good saves in games this season. He made 2 good saves in the West Brom game yesterday to deny Karlan Grant and Connor Townsend, like I've already mentioned. This is David De Gea's 10th season at Man United. And he's been a long servant, and I said he will remain our number 1 this season. So there is good players at Manchester United. There's poor players as well. You know, Paul Pogba's obviously very, very poor. I think Matic is poor. He had some good games, Matic, towards the end of last season. Daniel James, he's quite poor now because he's been out of form. But there again, Daniel James hasn't played much this season. Marcel is a poor player this season because he hasn't been that consistent. I know that he had a 3-game suspension in the Premier League because he got sent off in our 6-1 defeat to Tottenham. Shouldn't have really been sent off though. But Marcel was good last season under Ole, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal era. Martial's enjoyed over 5 years now or so at the football club. So yeah, there you go. And it's good that we are making plans for next year, because next year we are obviously looking to make more signings. We're obviously looking to offload more players as well. So that's it. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.